Have you ever found yourself ill-prepared on a Sunday morning, having not practiced, and afraid to transpose the hymn, or maybe you were working with instrumentalists and they can't transpose, or you don't have music to your hymn in another key, but you want to do something to embellish the hymn? That happens to me once in a while, and what I do is I employ what I call false modulations. I will develop an interlude and transpose that interlude, but I'll use another modulation to bring me back to the original key. Now, hopefully you know a little bit about music theory. The tones of the scale are numbered 1 through 8, and each chord in any given key has a number also. Now, when I employ a false modulation, it doesn't matter what key I explore during the modulation or during the interlude, as long as I end with a 2-5-1 progression from the original key. Now, in the key of C, for instance, the 2 chord would be a D minor. The 5-7 chord would be a G7th, and the 1 chord would be a C. Another example, in the key of F, the 2 chord would be a G minor, the 5 chord would be a C7, and the 1 chord would be F. So to our Western ears, these chords naturally lead into one another. Here I'll play a D minor, G7, and C. And you'll hear how they naturally blend together. Now, I'll play an example. Take the hymn Ode to Joy. I'll play it in F, and normally what I would do is I would develop a motif from whatever the hymn is, and I'll modulate up to the key of G. And then I'll play a 2-5 in the key of F, which places me back into the original key of F. I'll start at the last stanza of the verse. That's a simple example. Another favorite thing I like to do is on the closing 1 chord of any hymn, I'll walk a scale up to the key a half step lower than I am in, and then on the final chord of the new key, I'll play that old trick of playing instead of playing a 1 chord, I'll play a major third lower, and that will naturally propel me up to the key a half step higher. So if I'm in the key of C, it would propel me up. I'll modulate into the key of B, but then when I get to the end, B, instead of playing a B chord, I'll play a G7 chord, which naturally leads me into the key of C. So let me play an example. I'll play 3 or 4 verses of the hymn Duke Street, and I'll utilize a couple of false modulations to give you an idea of what I mean. And remember, I always return back to the original key. On Palm Sunday, I had a 60-voice choir process in, and I needed to give them time to process up into the chancel. And I did this for all 4 verses of the hymn in an effort to give them time. And a soprano came up to me afterwards, and she said that I raised the key so many times that on the last verse it was too high and she couldn't sing it.